You all having a good time? Well, while you wait, it keeps getting better and better. Okay, we start with the best, and then we keep getting better, 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 better. Okay, but you know what? I know
You guys can
Michael.
go get a seat.
Yeah, grab your seats. Grab your seats so you can take notes. Right? Yeah, yeah. But
Appreciate you.
yeah, but I know Michael and Kelsey and us. We are going to talk about something very exciting. See, what I love about this business. In this business, no matter what level you are, everybody starts at ground zero. Okay. Now I know about Michael and Kelsey, and I know about Pankaj and Archana. None of us had any business background. I'd never run a business. I know, Michael, you had a business degree. Right?
Business degree. They do not teach you how to run a business in business school, though. That's the fact for those of you who are intimidated by business degrees. They just teach you how to be a good employee. That is it. This was very foreign to us to learn how to run a business.
So we had no business background, but we got started with this, just like all of you got started, right? And then, there's always ups and downs down the journey. So we're going to talk a little bit about our experience, and I hope some of that can help you relate and connect, right? Everybody's journey is different. Yours is going to be different, right? But I'll start with Michael. Maybe if you and give a little bit of your background. I know you're in banking. Kelsey has been a physician's assistant. And so when you both saw the business and you had nice careers, what attracted you to the business? What got you started? And what was your initial mindset when you kind of got off rolling?
Yeah, appreciate that. So again,
Tell them about Kelsey, where she is.
yeah, so she would love to be here. So again, Mike and Kelsey Beaupre, we are proudly sponsored by Mason and Alietti. You saw Mason earlier. I've been privileged to be in business with Mason for 13 plus years now. He's one of my best friends in the world. And so my wife is not here right now. She's 38 weeks pregnant in a couple days. So if you see me rush off the stage, you know what's going on, okay? I got to catch a flight to get home. But we are out of Wisconsin, and we have two little girls, and this is our third child on the way. A little boy is coming. And so, Pankaj, Archana, I will say it too, we are honored to be on the stage with you. And Archana, I shared this earlier, my wife is so bummed. She was fighting with our doctors to be like, if we're going to speak with Archana, like, I want to be there, because she's looked up to you so much as a powerful woman who's built a business and created a lot of success. So she's with us in spirit here. But listen, so our background, hopefully we can give you guys some hope, because we were kind of your goody two-shoes students. We were not business owners. We were not your excited group. I wasn't like looking to create these amazing financial results in my life. I was like, I got a good degree. I was about to graduate. I was about to get engaged to Kelsey. She was going to be a PA, so I was marrying a sugar mama. She was going to make some good money. I was like, oh, I'll get a job too, okay. And yeah, by society standards, we looked really good. Everyone was cheering us on our degrees and everything. But a lot of people, when you do what society tells you to do, how many have student loan debt in the house? Okay. I was about to marry a girl that was going to bring on 120 grand of student loan debt, and I did not have that in the bank to pay for. So my motivation when Mason, introduced me to this community and said, hey, have you thought about doing something on the side or creating a venture for yourself? I was like, no, but logically, more income at this stage in my life is better than less income, right? So when I went through my, evaluation process, it wasn't this like, oh my gosh, this is like my life career. We really are going to make this and do big things here. I was just like, these people are smart. They're educated. They're good people. I hope they can teach me to pay off the student loan debt before I'm 55, right? That was my honest thinking. And that's what we pursued. We said, this makes sense financially. Kelsey at the time was like, I'm going to be in PA school, bro. So like, you do your own thing. Like, you take care of that. And I was like, okay, I can make some extra money, help us pay off that debt. And that was our motivation, early on. So my mindset as I came in was hopeful, I would say. And I remember coming to an event like this my first time. I was like, I love the people. The people were good integrity, good folks who had good values. They cared about good family lives. They cared about fixing their finances. I was attracted to that, but I was scared. Pankaj, I was like, I don't know how to do this. Can I do this? Will I do this? I don't want to be on stage someday. Like, that seems really intimidating. Everything about running a business I was nervous. I was petrified, really, of like, can I really do this? Which was interesting to me because, again, I was a 4.0 student in school. But then when it came to like, hey, go talk to people, hey, go sell a product, I was like, I have no idea how to do that. Right? So I think it's okay if you find yourself in this environment asking yourself, can I really do this? I mean, that's how we started. I was very like scared, timid, concerned, like, can I really do this? But there was something here that kept me around and kept me coming. So we can talk about more of our journey, but I want to hear you guys, because you guys very successful professionals, right? A lot of people see all the fancy tech careers. I mean, that panel before us of business owners, I was like, oh my gosh, holy cow! I was 23 years old and broke when I started this business. Nowhere near where those folks were. But you guys have very established careers in the tech community. So why don't you share your guys' background, how you got started, kind of your journey, and when you launched, hey, what were you guys thinking at the time?
Great. Well, that's great. For us, Archana and I, we both come from India originally, and we had come down to United States because, hey, we wanted to just get a good education and get a good job. And when we got introduced to this community and this business model, we both were already, we had 3 master's degrees, we had 2 corporate jobs, we were both individually making good 6-figure incomes. And this is like 20 plus years back when that money meant something. Okay. So we were not looking, we were not even interested. As a matter of fact, the friend of mine who introduced us to our coaches and mentors, Rajesh and Ritu Nagpal, they didn't even think of inviting us because they thought we are making too much money. They thought, like, you got rich people, you got 2 kids, you got no time. What are you going to do? You're not going to do this. But fortunately, we got exposed to the business model. And when Rajesh showed the business plan, and he talked about if you can find 6-8 good people who are going to build a business, build a network, you can make some extra money. I was like, I'm not looking for money, but anybody here okay with extra money?
Yes.
See, when I saw this, we weren't looking. We were growth-oriented people, and I saw an opportunity for growth. I saw an opportunity to make extra money, and the good part was, hey, I didn't have to invest $1 million. Not that I had it sitting in the bank. I didn't have to change jobs. I didn't have to change cities. I didn't have to jump off of Eiffel Tower. So this was a no-brainer to me. Only when you talk about concern, I wasn't looking at making any major money here. I was like, we had spent like $200 or a couple of $100 in buying some product pack. And I was like, so long as I don't lose that money, I'm okay with this. And that's where we started. Right? Arsha, you have some thoughts on that?
So I know Pankaj saw the business plan, I did indirectly or directly saw the business plan, and I heard some stories of successful women. And for me, that was it. I'm like, wow, but I could create my own choices. So for him, I think he was logically understanding the business plan, but this woman was emotionally understanding So a lot of times, right, when you have friends and family and you want to invite them and you think, I should just call the girl or the boy, but you don't know, both of them think so differently.
Yeah. And I would say, guys, never to prejudge people, because we thank God that Saturday we had nothing else to do. So we ended up calling up our friend who ended up introducing us to our coaches and mentors, Rajesh and Ritu. Because they were not going to call us, it's just our luck we showed up, right? But you'll be surprised that how somebody who may look good, smell good, but they have an ambition, right? They want to do it, right? And when we got started, so my initial feeling was this is a good idea. As a matter of fact, one of the follow-up questions I asked Rajesh was like, Rajesh, this makes so much sense. You're buying your own toothpaste, your own shampoo, your own soap, and you're going to make money, and you're going to, so what's wrong with this? Because you're not selling drugs. You're not like doing something wrong, and you just have to find a few other people. And you know what? I had 2 master's degrees myself, and I was like, I may not be the brightest bulb in the room, but I'm not dumb either. And I was like, if it makes sense to me, it's probably going to make sense to others. So that's what, it looked like a no-brainer to me. My only question was, Rajesh, why would somebody not do this? And Rajesh was like, well, I don't know the answer to that, but if you want to do it, I can help you. Mm-hmm. And that's where we got started. Yeah. But it's been, but see, we all walk in with whatever mindset, right? Sometimes we are skeptical. As a matter of fact, I had no business background. By the way, nobody in my 3 generations above had any business. So when my father back in India found out I've registered with network marketing, he literally on a phone was like, Pankaj, network marketing doesn't work, don't do it. But you know what? He didn't understand the business plan. He hadn't seen nothing. He cared for me. So sometimes new people, you might get shaken up because my mom said this, my dad said this. I was like, Dad, I'm not doing drugs here, right? I like the business plan, I like the community. I'm not losing money here. So I just gave him peace of mind. I said, Dad, it's good that you're concerned about me. I'll be extra careful. But then I went out and read a book, listened to a podcast, right? But I know you got started maybe a little scared, little,
Totally.
but as you got started, what made that switch in you where you said, hey, this is something worthwhile. I'm going to pursue this right. What changes did you guys have to make to say from just that skeptic attitude getting it rolling?
Well, it was a journey, Pankaj. So I always tell people, listen, my first year in this environment, nothing went right. Like nothing. And I challenged me, asked me, nothing. My parents were very negative about this, right? So same story.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I was the golden child. I have 3 sisters. I was the 4.0. And I came home and told my dad I was going to start a business. And I tried to explain it all to him. Again, 23-year-old Michael, not probably great explaining skills at that point, right? But I was. And the next morning, he literally, Pankaj, there was a stack of papers he handed me about this thick of all just negative things about network marketing or, hey, maybe why Amway isn't such a great business model. And I had a couple thoughts. I was like, 1, who prints out articles on the internet still? And 2, how late were you up last night? That is a lot of paper. But, and again, that shook me though. I was like, oh my gosh, what? And then I started to try to take some action. I stunk at customer sales. I'd never sold a product in my life. If you were the first person I tried to sell a product to, you would have probably been like, what is this guy on? What is he doing? Networking was outside my comfort zone. Heck, Mason can even attest, I wasn't even great at using the products because I was doing all the math and calculations. I was living off of one income. My wife was in PA school. I was like, how much money can I spend on product? I don't know. But here's what I did. Everything was hard, but I leaned into some coaches. I leaned into their thinking rather than 23-year-old Michael's thinking on how to run a business and how to create success, because at that time I hadn't. And here's what I started to do. I started to ask good questions, right? So, hey, maybe I got some negativity and I was in this roller coaster moment of well, is this still a good idea for me? Can I do this? Can whatever? Guess what I didn't do? Sit in my own thinking. I went to Mason. I went to Kyle Wills. I went to Craig. I asked them questions and I loved their answers. I loved their answers. I did not like my dad's answers. I love my dad. He's an amazing man. I just did not want his lifestyle. But I loved my coach's answers. You know what I did? I never took a supplement in my life until I got into this business. And I said, Hark, Michael, maybe you should actually go read a book about supplementation and actually understand and learn the business you're around. And that blew my mind. I was like, oh my gosh, I need to start using some vitamins and look at the quality that we have.
Yes.
So it was not overnight. But it was one by one, all these little cobwebs in Michael's brains of my concerns, the things that didn't go well, the things I struggled with, which was everything. I slowly started to knock it down. And that's what I would tell folks in this room. Listen, you're going to have concerns. You might be excited this weekend, but there's cobwebs in your brain if you're a new partner because you've never ran a business before. Don't sit on those. Go ask the right questions. Clear the cobwebs. Tell your coach what you're actually thinking. Right? Don't tell your coach everything's great and fine, and then you go talk to your roommate at home and say all the things you're actually concerned about to your roommate who's just as broke as you are at the moment. Bad idea. Lean into a coach. That's what we did, and we slowly started to make progress. And the last thing I'll say is, listen, we live in a society, and I'm very thankful. Again, we've been in this environment for over a decade. The person I am today, I'm so thankful for because it taught me to lean into hard things. Lean in when things get hard. We live in a world today where everything that's being marketed to you, that's being given to you, is all about making your life more convenient. When you get into this environment, that's not what it's about. It's about getting the best out of you. So it's going to be hard. You are supposed to stink at creating customers. You are supposed to be awkward at networking. That's how it works. That's how you build expertise. So don't get fooled by the world out there when something gets hard and you're and you get in your head about it. It's you are on track, my friends. The difference is, are you leaning into that? And that's what we started to do. Time after time, we leaned into it and we got better and better. And we loved the answers from our coaches. We loved coming to the events and seeing the values here and the results people could create and how they did it. And that slowly built our confidence.
Wow, right? Wow. Well, that's incredible. And I love what you said about leaning into mentorship and kind of understanding, taking the support of the community. Right. And that was something very exciting for me as well. See, when I walked in, I was like, this is extra money, but I did not understand truly it will take effort. We like the people, we like the community. Archana loved the people, right? But I was like always, hey, you can make money doing other things. But I still like the idea. But I kept coming back. You see, you look at a room full of people like this, right? When I saw conferences like this, when I saw so many people, I was like, these many people cannot be stupid. There's got to be something to this. I mean, come on, right? Means why would even if you're an apprentice and you were able to walk in on a complimentary basis in this conference, you still had to take the time to fly down or drive down and spend the gas or a hotel room. I mean, why would you spend all that money if you're stupid? And I can understand 1% may be stupid, 2% may be stupid, 3% may be stupid. You can't. Means they say that, right? You can fool some people sometimes, but you can't fool all the people all the time. And that's what struck me. I was like, I loved it, right? And the good thing was Archana loved the community, right? So Archana, you want to share what kept bringing us back to this community?
I mean, let me tell you before what happened with the community. Now, Pankaj is talking so good about this business, but my biggest challenge, I'm sure there are a lot of husband and wives here. My biggest challenge is this guy understood the numbers. He could truly put life behind the numbers, but he truly was not sold out, okay? He was more sold out to corporate America in our first year, okay? He's talking big right now, okay? Right? So tell you the truth, not all.
I thought I was only talking to Michael here. I didn't know she was right behind.
Next question. No.
So some of you, right, apprentice, maybe husband and wife building the business, but a lot of times you both might not be at the same page, right? I was excited, okay? I was in this bubble where I wanted everything this leadership was offering, this platform was offering. This guy used to drop me to conventions. He would drop me to BAMs. He would drop me to VES. He will say, it's good you're reading a book. What kept going? He was fighting the system, okay? When Upline sent us the podcast, he would say, why are they sending the podcast? What do they have to get out of it? Right? So he was totally opposite direction. But what he did was he let me do stuff. Okay, but what I did from my side was that I was excited, I was immersed into the system, and I did not let go. And because he loved me, he let me do what I wanted. And eventually, if one of you keep going, you don't give up to the naysayers. One naysayer could be your spouse, right? I'm telling you, you will make it happen. So my biggest challenge was not to push him, not to tell him what to do, because some women do that. They tell their spouses what to do and they start hating them and their marriage starts to disrupt. What I did was I kept loving him, but I kept doing what I was supposed to do. Right? And eventually, I started to even pray to God. And my most favorite book was Power of Praying Wife. And it worked, okay? I started to say, God, please send him to the convention with me. And he started to show up, okay? But for me, this community has truly defined who I am. Imagine, I'm talking to you right now. I was a person in the FNHs, if they asked my name, I used to sweat. I couldn't tell my name. Right? I had such low self-image. This community built my confidence. It inspired me, okay? And you know what? It takes a village to raise a kid. It took a village to raise me. And I have my tribe back there, Vinita Rastogi, Ritu Nagpal, Uma Kakani, Smita Jyoti Prakash. I mean, these women of strength, through their example, taught me that I can be one. They never put me down because I didn't dress up properly. They never said, Archana, you can't sell a product. I think you can't do nothing. They told me, you know what, Archana, just try to do something, one push at a time, what you were talking about. I don't think so. While you work a corporate job, you can shake anybody's hand and tell them you can have. But now, this tribe, this community has given me that power. I can go shake anybody's hand and tell them you can have, if you can work hard the way I have worked hard.
Yeah. And guys, you all will have to go through that journey. Everybody's challenge is going to be different. Everybody's naysayers are going to say different things, but are you willing to stand up? Right? Are you willing to prioritize your time? Right? See, we both, Archana and I, we live in Silicon Valley, right? And there's companies there going public, and there's people making money, and there's all kind of glitter around.
People every day buying $1 million homes.
And I've worked at startups and made money. But one thing we always understood, and I love, Ganesh said this a few times in the last 1 year, here and there I've heard from him. It's like, see, this business is not in conflict with your job. Right? There is, you can do what you do at your job and succeed at it and use your unproductive time, prioritize it right, do a few things, and you can start making some baby steps. right? You don't have to fight. This business is not in fight with your job. It's in fight with your laziness, if I may say.
Ooh.
Or maybe it's in fight with your lack of discipline and distractions, right? So I know, Michael and Kelsey, for you guys, you've got a 3-year-old, a 2-year-old,
No, 3-year-old, 1-year-old.
3-year-old, 1-year-old, another on the way. When you started, you had your jobs. How did you prioritize time, effort to do this right?
Yeah. Again, I think the community and our coaches taught us how to do that really well. I 100% agree with you. We got in this environment, we said, we're going to kick butt at our jobs and we're going to kick butt at building something for our family. Those are not mutually exclusive things. And all the lessons I learned here, when Michael was fumbling through learning how to network, fumbling through the customer stuff, learning how to speak, learning to develop a leadership skill. Guess what was happening in my job? I was actually creating more and more income at my job because of the soft skills that I learned here. And all the guidance, I tell people, I've told our head of HR at the company that I work for, because they interview me, I've created a lot of success at my day job. I was one of the youngest senior vice presidents at the organization that I was at. I've created a lot of success there. They asked me like, hey, we want to interview you, we want to know your story. I've said, hey, listen, everything I've learned to advance here, I've actually not learned from any corporate development program or anything that the organization I work for has. I've learned it all for things I've done outside of my career. And then I kind of said, ooh, that came out a little harsh to the head of HR. I smoothed it over, don't worry. But it's so true. I think a lot of people, Archana, you got a lot of smart guys in this audience who understand like compounding interest and I'm going to put my money in the markets because I know over the long term I'm going to make it. But you are overestimating the compounding personal development. You're underestimating compounding personal development here. It will impact all of your areas of life. So today, when Kelsey and I look at our life, how are we so effective in running a business? I have a full-time job still, raising kids, doing all the things we do, having the marriage we have. I don't think I'm a superstar. I think we learned that here. We learned how to block by block, create a value-based life, and learn to block. Was it perfect? No. Was I stressed out sometimes? Yeah. Again, that doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. That doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means you got to build the muscle to learn how to create a great life. And what other environment's going to teach you that? The bank that I work for taught me how to be a great banker. They weren't teaching Michael how to be a great person, a great husband, to create a great life. But my coaches and mentors every single day, yes, they were teaching me how to build a business. They were teaching me how to balance it all and create a value-based life that we could be proud of.
Wow.
And that's what we really leaned into. And again, so sometimes I think people want like a magic answer. Like, I'm going to take notes on what Michael says and poof, I'm going to make my life easier. No, my friends, you're going to go home and you're going to work on it with your coach and you're going to get better and better and better. And you need that third-party perspective because you're likely not going to change the things you need to change in your own brain. Someone's got to kind of help you get there. That's my opinion.
Wow, I couldn't agree more with that. This is so awesome. And guys, you will all see the biggest or earliest rewards of this business show up in other areas of your life. Your job, your family life, your friends will say you talk different. I want to hang out with you. And we saw that. Arshna and I
Your kids will love you.
Your kids will love you, right? They because they think mom and dad are more cool than other parents' kids. Because see, out there, nobody's teaching people the kind of things we focus on, right? And a lot of things we teach here will affect, as a matter of fact, the long-term thinking will help you do a lot better in many things you do in life, right? Whether it's relationships, whether it is managing finances, and it is no magic pill, right? We had to struggle with figuring out our time tracking, money budgeting, figuring out how to talk to people, reading one book at a time. Sometimes at my house, there's a bunch of books, lined up, and I look at them like, oh, did I really read all of them? And the answer is yes, we really read all of them one bite at a time, one page at a time. And all of that helps and shows up in terms of rewards and improvements and benefits in all areas of your life, right? Sometimes, but sometimes that confuses people. They do learn, like you could have said, oh my God, I got a promotion at work and they're appreciating me so much. So you get
an hug.
You start working at your job because
every promotion comes with more effort, more stress, and more time though. Don't forget that, folks.
Yeah, so people don't realize that, right? But we are closing here, guys. But Michael, what would you share? What would you say are some of the biggest blessings you've gotten from this business? And what would be your advice to anybody? There could be new people just getting started. It could be somebody who's been there, tried to do it, maybe haven't been able to put it all together. what would be your recommendation?
Oh man, there's so many things I could say. You know, my wife and I have been married for 13 years. We've been married our entire time. We've been in this environment. Our marriage is the direct reflection of the people we've surrounded ourselves here, and we are so, so proud of that, number one, in our life and in our family dynamic. But the time we've been able to create in our life, again, it's been a beautiful blessing in our life. That I'm so proud of that. And again, back when I was new, I couldn't see that. When I was in my first conference, I was like, yeah, right, that's not going to happen for Michael and Kelsey. We're just Michael and Kelsey. So here's my big advice to you. It is proven that humans, you can perceive change when you look in the past. You can look at yourself and say, wow, I'm very different than when I was 15, and now I'm 20, and now I'm 25. But you are incapable to perceive change in the future. This is psychologically proven. It's called the end of history illusion. You cannot see it. You have to have someone who believes in you, who says, I see someone who can create the life that they want. And you have to hold on to that. You have to hold on so strong to that. Because if you don't, I don't know if Mike and Kelsey would have survived. Because that's what kept us in the game. When all the corporate money was coming in, when things were looking good, why did we stick around? Because we had a Mason Eddie and an Ali Eddie and Eddie and Cassie Kutnick who said, we think you guys got what it takes. Hold on. We can see your future, even though you can't see the change that you can develop and who you can become. And when I speak today, I'm always like, how the heck do Michael, why did they ask me to go on the panel? Why did they ask me to share? I don't think I'm that special. But you have so much potential in you if you're willing to just hang on to someone who can help you believe that. That's my advice. And it will be a journey. You'll have ups and downs. But I'll let you guys wrap it up with anything else.
Wow. Archana, what would you say, would be your recommendation to these people? What has been the impact of this business in our life?
Oh, for my life, the impact has been huge, okay?
Yeah, guys, in closing, I'll tell you, this is, this is not just about making money. You can make money doing a lot of things. This is about having a value-driven life, a platform and a community where people around you will uplift you, and you will have a chance to pay back and uplift other people, and you all go together to places, right? So don't take it lightly what you have coming your way. Some of us, especially computer engineers like mine, we've got too much logic in our brain. I had to struggle with that. When Archana was telling about all the things I don't even deserve to maybe hold this mic for all that historic background. But you know what? That's where we come from. But the more you can understand what true mentorship, true community belonging can do for you, the better it'll be for you. It'll take some time. Don't think it's going to be happening overnight in 2 years or 2 months, right? Some people think it'll happen in 2 days. But if you're willing to do the work, just don't overestimate what can be done in 2 months or 2 years, but don't also underestimate what can happen in next 2, 5, 10 years, right? So go out, do what you're doing. I hope what we shared here gives you some hope, some light, but we know you all are very capable of doing bigger and better things. So let's make it happen.
For the calendar year 2024, the average income from Amway